The archaeological record presents a unique opportunity for the study of its physical remains in terms of architectural layout, the site's configuration, and the monument's azimuth, without being concerned for a moment about the who, when, and how these were created. The physical objects at their sites contain intrinsic, measurable parameters which follow basic mathematical principles. Most of the site's objects can be evaluated in their design, size, and layout, in addition to their global location and positioning at the site. All of these parameters can be instrumentally ascertained with enough accuracy. The impetus for our evaluation in those terms was to address the why. What justifiable need made the architects of the archaeological record invest the time, manpower, effort, and economic cost spent in planning and building even the smallest menhir alignment or circle? The simple act of standing a menhir or megalith stone implies an expenditure of dearly available resources. Can we glean what that need was? Can it be found in their measurements? Was there a greater benefit in their design beyond indicating the solstices and equinoxes for agricultural or religious purposes, as it is believed by many researchers? This last question is the engine that has moved this line of inquiry forward. This study was focused on the analysis of each site by taking measurements of each structure and/or the layout of the site to answer those questions, and others, such as, are their sizes, heights, and shapes significant? Are these monument sites geographically related to others around the world in any measurable way? The results of the various studies included in this work show that the design geometry and location of every structure had a deliberate purpose. The significance of each structure, be it a glyph, a megalith, an individual structure, or an arrangement of structures at a site, regardless of size or whether they were inhabited or not, most of them encode the direction to other places or other structures. The alignment of structures in itself does not justify the need and effort to build them, unless an underlying reason is identified. In the study, we uncovered that the relative location of many of the sites encode astronomical facts about Earth, such as the precession of its orbit. Also, the physical measurements of some of the structures reveal their designs encode other astronomical properties of Earth, such as its axial tilt, and confirm their alignment with the solstices. The locations and design of a few archaeological sites reveal their designers knew of the existence of the Earth's ridgelines. Earth's archaeological wonders, was there a purpose built into their designs? Understanding our past can become an obsession. Every stone, every bone, and every vestige of man's presence, in the precise context, captures our imaginations. We need to know. It is, or it seems to be, encoded in our genes. Man's drive to acquire knowledge, especially about him, is so strong that more often than we would like to admit, it drives us to conjure up fantasies and myths as explanations for those things that are not patently obvious. For primitive peoples, this was the actual process used to begin understanding life, at least until patterns began to emerge from everyday phenomena. Science, or the scientific approach to understanding these phenomena, sought to capture perceived reality and reduce it to reproducible observations and results. As defined by IUPAC, reproducibility of results means reproducibility is the ability of an entire experiment or study to be reproduced either by the researcher or by someone else working independently. It is one of the main principles of the scientific method and relies on ceteris paribus, all being equal. It also means that a newcomer who can alter or improve the observation must follow the given constraints or show how the proposed new constraint or precision provides a better, more universal explanation that improves the process, or in itself advances understanding. Archaeology is in particular a science that seems to require a vision that maintains a delicate balance between intuition and scientific accuracy. The head and heart, the emotional and factual need to be brought to bear on the evaluation or assessment of the unknown encoded in the vestiges of the past. The origin of man is perhaps the most debated topic, advanced through many disciplines and theories, even those classified as fringe. One of those fringe theories is the visitation of Earth by extraterrestrials in antiquity. This is a theory that will probably outlive mankind itself without a proof. It proposes a plausible pathway that could explain how the human race became what it is today. Another theory speaks of advanced earlier civilizations. Both rely on our inability to explain how megalithic structures were built thousands of years ago, presumably without technology. This research focuses on the physical measurement of objects, which reflect the technological knowledge that was used to create them. We start by making reference to existing theories and recall them when the physical data highlights some of their aspects or elements. That is, we use them as a backdrop by testing the claims they make, which appear to be relevant to the study. In 1967, Swiss author E. von Däniken became one of the foremost proponents of alien beings' visitations of Earth. He proposed the theory in his book, Chariot of the Gods. Intuitively, he believed the Nazca lines were the proof of his theory. However, he wasn't able to demonstrate what his gut was telling him. Since the publication of his book, his theories were dismissed by the scientific community as quackery. Still, today his writings appear with others of this kind on shelves marked, from mysticism to, at best, speculation. Perhaps his lack of scientific education in the early days contributed to this offhand rejection. Today his following has grown in popularity and greater acceptance. Author Zecharia Sitchin, 1920–2010, claimed he was one of the few scholars able to read and interpret ancient Sumerian and Akkadian clay tablets. Sitchin based his best-selling The 12th Planet on texts from the ancient civilizations of the Near East. Sitchin.com. What he deciphered from these texts corroborated some of von Däniken's ideas and provided more detailed analysis in his book series, The Earth Chronicles, not without garnering skepticism of its own. In both their accounts, ancient peoples witnessed the arrival of extraterrestrials who left their culture in their hands. Sumerians, Egyptians, Aztecs, Incas, and Mayas, and others recorded the visitors' appearance as powerful beings or angels. The visits were documented in their scriptures, as well as in monuments, statues, carvings, gold artifacts, and glyphs in various forms we now find in the above societies, and many others archaeological records around the world. Besides the generally accepted belief that this legacy came to us as the product of our current civilization, there are other theories. The existence of a much earlier technologically advanced civilization on the planet is one that has gained a following in recent years, and in some instances used the biblical recounts of cataclysmic destruction as the reason for their disappearance. The legacy artifacts. Some of the physical evidence without a definitive explanation seems to add weight on the side of proof of the visits by extraterrestrial beings. For example, in the Gold Museum in Bogotá, Colombia, there are multiple gold figurines in the shape of delta-wing aircraft, a claim vehemently denied by historians, down to the tour guides at the site. There are also fully armored figures, some angel-like, as shown below. The motifs these have can also be found in many places the world over, as megaliths, artifacts, or glyphs. Places. In Tambo, Peru, there is a geoglyph site known as the Band of Holes, another archaeological wonder. This band consists of man-sized holes forming a necklace up the mountain to an altitude of about 600 feet from the valley, shown in the video as small circles in grey. Atop this band, immediate to the left, there is an oval-shaped valley, which has curious striations. The striations fan out downwards, forming a flowing skirt, while at the top of the striations, where they start, there is an arc facing upwards. On the right side, the arc continues over the mountain ridge, ending on a straight line pointing southeast. A similar line is found at the other end of the arc, but it points southwest. With a little imagination, we make out the overall figure in the valley might look like an angel. Similar arrangements of holes are found in diverse places on Earth in the form of cups carved on stones. In southeast US, the Judaculla rock and the Forsyth stone, the Sonora stone in Mexico, and the Duddington rocks in Ireland, and the Share Hills Band in Nigeria, Africa, and Göbekli Tepe, to mention a few. Another type of historical site of interest is the mound. Mounds can be counted in the thousands found around the world. Mounds can have many shapes, in Ohio, US, the Newark Rings, and the famous Serpent, or in Louisiana, US, where several types are located. We find a round mound and an amphitheater-like configuration together, known as Poverty Point. This is the site of an early civilization in the lower Mississippi Valley, 2200 BCE to 700 BCE. Others, such as pyramids found in Mexico, Iguazu and Cerrito, and circular in Denmark known as Trelleborgs, which are believed were Viking fortresses. The Poverty Point site is separated in time and distance from another amphitheater, similar to it near Cusco, Peru, where the Inca civilization prospered, 300 BC to 1700 AD. Although similar in design, is much grander in scale. There are 3 of these at the same location, although the other 2 are smaller. The site is called Mo Rey Inca. It is located some 3,408 miles away. This amphitheater design is not unique to these locations. There are several other examples throughout the Inca civilization and other locations around the world. Symbols. Ancient symbols around the world, possible connections. What if the same few symbols keep showing up across the ancient world, not once, not twice, but everywhere? Spirals, circles, glyphs. The big question isn't were they connected? The real question is, what kind of connection are we actually looking at? Because connection can mean a lot of things. Shared meaning, shared trade routes, shared technology, or simply the same human mind solving the same problems. In the next section of this video, we're going to start looking at these symbols one by one. The lemniscate. There are other sites of greater interest from the technological point of view. At these sites, glyphs are found that have implicit mathematical meaning, other than triangles, squares, or circles. Their geometrical meaning in terms of spaceflight makes them significant for the proponents of alien visitations. One of these glyphs represents the sideways number 8, commonly known as the infinity sign. This symbol has been known since the 5th century AD and is attributed to Proclus, a Greek mathematician. Its use in mathematics is credited to mathematician John Wallis, who used it first in 1655 to mean infinity. 8-shaped curves of different configurations were later derived by mathematicians Booth, Bernoulli, Huygens, and Viviani. Each one of these different 8-shaped curves corresponds to a different polynomial equation, the analemma. Another one of these curves is known as an analemma. An analemma curve is the path traced by a heavenly body onto another, such as the Sun onto the Earth, as the position of the Sun changes in the sky with each rotation of the Earth. This phenomenon also occurs planet to planet and geosynchronous satellites and Earth. Satellite reception devices need to track their specific trajectory to optimize the signal reception, so they are programmed to track the satellite's analemma curve. The picture below shows the various positions of the Sun as it appears in the sky, photographed from the same location. Analemmas, or 8-shaped glyphs, are found in different forms and at many locations. Some of these curves are found at archaeological sites located remotely from each other. For example, the Sonora Stones in Sonora, Mexico, and in Nazca, at least at 2 locations, 14.684 degrees south, 75.13 degrees west, and 14.79 degrees south, 75.28 degrees west. The latter is the largest we have found. It is 475 feet long. These 2 sites are 3,721 miles apart. 3 other lemniscates were found at Khirbet al-Ambashi in Jordan, about 8,000 miles from Nazca. The symbol is also found in Easter Island, not as a glyph, but as a structure. This stone structure is called a manavai. The cross-section of the manavai structure, as viewed from above, is an 8-shaped curve. One of these structures is located near Ahutapeu, at 3,776 miles directly south of Sonora and 2,365 miles southwest from Nazca. The shape of this stone structure is like a Bernoulli's lemniscate. The importance given to lemniscates' curves in ancient times was, probably, due to its mathematical reality. This fact was apparently recognized since the beginning of civilization, although not explicitly. Mystical powers were attributed to it, as it was with other geometric shapes, such as triangles and circles. Stone carvings, engravings, and paintings of this curve are found throughout the world. This symbol appears in religious and mystic art as well. It could be significant that this symbol appears at archaeological sites, in favor of the argument that the builders of these sites had flight capability, or that alien visitors were the builders of the sites. The spiral. The spiral is another curve which is mathematically defined. It is found at many locations around the world. Its mathematical form was first defined by the Greek scientist and mathematician Archimedes, 287 to 212 BC, and today is known in mathematics as the Archimedean spiral. One obvious association of spirals with space travel is with the spiral galaxies. At Venukpan, South Africa, in an area in the desert of approximately 16 square miles, there are 100 or so spirals scrapped onto the ground, and probably as many are also found in the Nazca Plain in Peru, including the tail of the monkey geoglyph. At Nazca, the most prominent spiral is found at 14.68 degrees south, 75.36 degrees west, and the monkey is found at 14.71 degrees south, 75.14 degrees west. The distance between the location of Venukpan and Nazca is 6,086 miles. Spirals are also found at various other archaeological sites as megalithic art, places such as Newgrange and Chang'an, Xi'an, China, 22. The Newgrange spiral decorations carved on a monolith at the entrance of the mound is shown above. Also, there are 3 spirals on the back of Moai RR001-156 in Easter Island, which was unearthed by EISP Easter Island Statue Project. The largest spiral known is about 1.3 miles in diameter. It is found in Texcoco, Mexico, 19.57 degrees north, 99 degrees west, shown above. This spiral has an obscure history. It is located in an area that was part of lake in pre-Columbian times, now mostly drained as is most of Tenochtitlan, today Mexico City. Some believe it was constructed in the 50s by a salt recovery company to use for desiccation. It appears that its archaeological value was cloaked behind this account, which otherwise could have prevented the exploitation of the salts from the lake. Furthermore, there is no technical reason desiccation would require this design. What we found about this site and its design makes a strong case for it to be classified as an archaeological treasure. The Texcoco spiral, unlike any known others, its axis and origin are part of the design. Following its axis line southward, extended as a great circle, the line connects with the main spiral at Nazca. The Nazca spiral is a Fermat spiral, the same as the designs at Newgrange, while the one at Texcoco is an Archimedean spiral, as are the Venukpan spirals, to which Texcoco's is also connected. The arrangement and significance of the Venukpan spirals will be discussed later. There may also be a connection between space travel and spirals. The Euler spiral, similar to the monkey's tail, is known as a transition spiral. It changes linear direction into circular direction. The picture above is the Esperanza stone found in Mexico in 1909. The arrow shows the double spiral. In Blythe, California, a double spiral appears below the Horsecliff. Half of an Euler's spiral would be similar to the glide trajectory a vehicle from outer space would have during entry into the Earth's atmosphere. A glide trajectory with an atmosphere entry angle of about 6 degrees is necessary to be able to reuse the vehicle, such as with the NASA Space Shuttle. Coincidentally, this is the shape of the monkey's tail. Glyphs. There are literally thousands of glyph types. Sometimes hundreds are found on a single rock. The Esperanza stone shown above is an example, and the Judaculla stones. These two will be discussed later. Amongst the many glyphs, there are ones that repeat in so many places that after a while they begin to seem commonplace. The double spiral is one of them, as is the infinity symbol. These are fairly easy to explain, as we have attempted above. Others boggle the mind as to what they might mean. The majority of glyphs fall under this category, and we just dismiss them as interesting, and don't give them a second thought, unless you happen to be a professional epigrapher, glyph reader, or their characteristics repeat enough times that the archaeology enthusiast can, after viewing a few, begin to recognize patterns. One such instance is a curious glyph found on the Nazca Plateau, known as hands, shown above. Indeed, they do look like hands, except one hand has only 4 fingers, and they are attached to what appears to be a bird. The monkey glyph has the same finger count. This is interesting in itself, but, 4,098 miles away in the Chaco Canyon in New Mexico in a cave known as Una Vida, One Life. There is a glyph we call Chaco, shown below. This glyph is a figure with antennae, which on his right hand holds a spiral and his left displays 4 fingers. There are at least 2 others in the cave with their hands spread out, displaying 4 and 5 fingers as well. The Orongo petroglyph, 4,351 miles away at Easter Island, also shows a figure with 4 and 5 fingers. Circles. Circular stone arrangements are found in many designs, degree of structural sophistication and sizes, as plain circles made up of small stones or uncut megaliths weighing up to several tons, some arranged with center stones and spokes like cart wheels. The largest, most sophisticated arrangement made of carved megaliths is Stonehenge. Some of these circles are named wheels, calendars, or sundials and observatories. They are an archaeological record of a different kind and of special interest. These stone circles are found in many locations the world over, particularly in the British Isles, and have been the subject of intense study. The science of astroarchaeology or archaeoastronomy came about from the results of many studies, some which showed a connection exists between these ancient megalithic circular structures and stars, planets, and the Earth's solstices. We'll explore these concepts later in the study. This science also studies the alignment of other archaeological structures, not only those that are similar in design to Stonehenge, but also pyramids and temples such as Giza, El Castillo at Chichen Itza, Calcasieu in Tiwanaku, and others. The alignment some of these structures have with the solar solstices, planets, and constellations are reported in the literature. Those studies have yielded hypotheses or understandings regarding the degree to which ancient cultures understood and might have used the information for agricultural and/or ceremonial purposes. However, they do not explain or justify the economic value of the enterprise for the larger monuments. More significant is the fact that agriculture flourished around the world without the aid of these structures, which make that hypothesis more romantic than factual. The connection with the sun cycle can be and will be evaluated as a physical reality from an astronomical perspective later. Also, there is no science that explains why the designs and geometries of many of the structures are similar. Attempts have been made to correlate or find out if there is a relationship between the structures' locations relative to each other, or their geographical positioning, without yielding verifiable certainty. An interesting analysis is provided by Jim Allison, who claimed there is a correlation between the location of archaeological sites and the North Pole. In the end, the theories don't tell us why they were built. Regarding megalithic circles, whether they are found in Europe, the Americas, Israel, or India, they appear to have similar layouts. The basic issues outlined above have driven this research, the results of which provide a new perspective. The medicine wheel, found at Bighorn, Wyoming, and the other shown, is 7,668 miles away at Junipani, India. Other circles similar to these are found at Hangate, Easter Island, Chile, Nazca, Peru, Monsaraz and Almendrez in Portugal, Nabta Playa, Egypt, several others in the UK besides Avebury and Stonehenge, and the Golan Circle in Israel, and the Trelleborg Rings in Denmark, and the sites of Sign and Junipani, which contain about 30 circles each, to name a few. The medicine wheel, in particular, appears to have played an important geographic role, as we'll see its location will be visited time and again throughout this research. Comparisons have been made for other structure types, such as pyramids, dolmens, and temples, because of the similarities they share in their architecture and engineering, in spite their being found in many diverse places on Earth. The similarities in design and construction these structures share conjure up an enigma many scientists have questioned. How is it possible that cultures separated by thousands of miles managed to design and engineer virtually identical structures, and in some instances apparently used similar building techniques? Pyramids, in particular, are examples of this. They are found in Mexico, China, Egypt, Peru, and many other places, and the lore and facts regarding them abounds. The architectural model of the pyramid at Cholula, Mexico, displayed below, is of one of the largest pyramidal structures in the world, not in height, but at the base. It is only about half the height of the Chefren pyramid. but at its base is twice as wide. This pyramid is believed was built over 1,000 years, starting in about 300 BCE. The pyramid was enlarged layer over layer, becoming taller each time. The last modification was done by the Spanish conquistadors in the name of the church. Still today, it displays a cathedral on top of it, a symbol of the intent the church had to squelch local traditions. That onslaught, not only philosophical but physical, together with diseases, eventually decimated the local population. This layering of construction is not unique. Archaeologists, using the latest radar techniques, have found previously unknown underlaying construction at some of the places mentioned above. Now that we've covered the symbols and what their possible connections might mean, we're going to shift our focus to the megalithic structures themselves, where they're found, how they were laid out, and the level of planning and precision they seem to require. Because to understand why these sites were built, we also have to understand what it would take to build them. In the next section, we'll look at the engineering, tools, logistics, and construction technology that may have been needed to move, shape, and place massive stones with such accuracy, and what that suggests about the capabilities of the people behind these incredible projects. Megalithic structures. These structures, as a whole, range in engineering design sophistication, from the simple dolmen, a structure consisting of 2 pillars and a capstone known as lintel, to the Egyptian temples and pyramids. Megalithic structures are found in places such as Tijuanaco, Bolivia, and as far as the Pacific island of Tonga. Megaliths are also found around the globe by themselves, as cairns, stacked stones such as Inukshuks, or as part of temples with awe-inspiring engineering, architectural achievement, and artistic beauty in astonishing detail. A salient example is the Temple of Luxor in Egypt. Building these large structures required mathematical precision in their measurements during design, and the stone cutting and alignment, which had to be orders of magnitude more stringent compared to that for the construction of dolmens or stone circles. These achievements are hard to explain considering the low level of technical advancement at the time when they were built. However, the technology required for stone circles and stone menhir alignments, cairns and ahus, and their execution have been explained, in some instances, as the product of human awareness, inquisitiveness, and penchant for discovery, which is displayed in their construction and in their alignment following the trajectories of stars. Planets, the sun or the moon. A typical monolith menhir alignment is shown above. The El Infinito at Villa de Leyva, Colombia, is a menhir alignment at an angle of 90 degrees ease, located about 4 degrees north of the equator, at an elevation of about 7,000 feet above sea level. Alignments, such as this one, are not only related to astronomical events, but in some instances are part of a grander design, as this research has revealed. The importance of the geographical location and azimuth alignment of structures within a site like this will be visited and explained in detail later. Technology. The technologies that must have been used to build the pyramids and were required for their execution were unknown until about 800 BC, when algebra was first developed in Damascus. Algebra and geometry advanced, not until Pythagoras and Euclid formally defined geometry and space, 580 to 265 BC. These sciences were and are necessary for basic construction, as is Newtonian mechanics. Mechanics is the science needed to set up the scaffolding required to move megaliths, some of them weighing up to hundreds of tons. A sample is shown below. Sir Isaac Newton, 25th December 1642 to 20th March 1727, did not publish the law of mechanics until 1687 in his Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica. All of the major structures being considered are believed to precede mathematics by hundreds, if not thousands of years. There are other factors that we think contribute to the study and evaluation of how these projects were carried out by our current civilization. One of these factors is logistics, the project management and control skills that were necessary and that had to be available prior to the initiation of any one of the major works mentioned. These skills were required not only for the daily planning, but through the years it took to finish any one of those projects. How these projects were accomplished by early societies without the required infrastructure still remains not addressed and is largely unexplained. It has also been observed that some of these projects could not be duplicated with today's advances in technology and heavy equipment. Some megaliths in the hundreds of tons weight range, such as those found at Jupiter's temple in Baalbek in Lebanon, shown above, defy explanation as to how they were cut and moved. Another example of this exacting workmanship are the stoneworks at Pumapunku, Bolivia, where cut stones are found in great quantity, having cutouts, circular holes, and angles. Stonework engineers have judged would be hard to achieve today. The first photo below shows one of these monoliths. The inlaid cuts are blind, do not go through. That makes it impossible to cut without a mill-like machine fitted with a diamond bit. This is not unique to these monuments. Precision stone cutting at its highest excellence is found in the Chephren and Luxor temples in Egypt. At Luxor there are hundreds, if not thousands of glyphs, carved on columns and obelisks that display astonishing design and precision. Again, not achievable with the tools of the time. In this chapter, covered some of the basics regarding the characteristics, types, design, and details archaeological sites may have, and that in some instances share with others, even when located remote from each other. In our analysis, we used these elements to help define whether there was unity between sites. For this study, the physical geometry of the site and its geographical location in relation to other sites were the underpinning characteristics we focused on. In some instances, the overall design or design elements reaffirmed or emphasized the importance of the geometric arrangements found. In part 2 of this series, we'll examine alignments in greater detail, defining what they are, outlining their connection to astronomical events, analyzing how sites may be aligned with one another, and reviewing possible explanations for why these alignments were established. These videos take a long time to create, so please support the series by liking, commenting, and subscribing for future episodes. I'm genuinely grateful for your time, your view, and your comments. Thank you so much for supporting this series, and thank you so much for supporting our new channel, Megalith Alignments.